pleasure now to present the moral leader of our nation, one who has conducted a massive moral campaign in the southern area of the nation against the citadel of racism, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
So the speech takes place during this incredible moment in America's racial and political history. 1963, August 28th, that's the date the speech is delivered. The beginning of that year starts with George Wallace, the Alabama governor, coming out in Montgomery for his inauguration, stamping his foot on the ground and saying, segregation
now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
The year ends after Kennedy's assassination and with Lyndon Johnson now in the White House and civil rights legislation on the books. In between comes this huge explosion in black politics. The year does not start out that propitiously in terms of the potential for kind of radical change. King has emerged from Albany, Georgia, somewhat defeated, looking for a place to kind of regain his chops. And he moves to Birmingham, Alabama, otherwise known among the black community as Bombingham, because of the severe violence that took place there so often from segregationists. And Birmingham changes the nature of America's racial conversation. They set dogs, water hoses that can rip the bark off a tree at 25 feet on young kids, and the world is watching. One of the other things that's taking place during that time is a revolution in television, which means that these pictures can be transmitted all over the world. And it has an impact not just domestically but internationally. This is after the Cuban Missile Crisis, before the escalation in Vietnam. Dean Rusk, Kennedy's Secretary of State, says to him, "Our friends are embarrassed, our enemies are gleeful." They need to sort this out. America is traveling the world, lecturing the world about democracy, and here in the belly of the beast, people, black people, cannot vote. And so after Birmingham, there becomes this challenge for all concerned. The civil rights movement has unleashed this force that it can't quite control. In the 10 weeks after Birmingham is settled, there are over 14,000 arrests, over 700 demonstrations in over 100 cities. That is the scale and the pace of the kind of the militancy that is shaping the nation's racial conversation. The segregationists cannot control what is taking place either. There are, on the one hand, militants like Bull Connor and others who are willing to go to the wall, who are willing to do everything they can to hang on to the power that they have. And there are others who see the writing on the wall and want to come to some kind of accommodation. And the Kennedy administration cannot control events either. They send people down to negotiate various moments with various people, but at each time that they do, they have no idea what is actually going to happen. That is the context in which King's speech, the I Have a Dream speech, is given. It is delivered right in the middle of this tumult. Within 2 weeks of him delivering the speech and the kind of the warm feeling that the protesters have, within 2 weeks, 4 little girls are murdered at Sunday school in Birmingham. It's a speech about peace and reconciliation and racial unity at a time of massive racial discord and racial violence.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.